Should you buy a Pimax Crystal Light in 2025? Now, if you want the short answer, if you're like a hardcore VR enthusiast that like loves specs and resolution, then I would say definitely. But if you guys want a more long form answer that kind of answers a lot more questions than just one sentence about a headset, then you should stick around. Full disclosure, I was sponsored by Pimax, but don't click off the video yet, because all they did was send me this headset. They didn't ask to look over this video before I uploaded it, and I wasn't paid to actually make this review of the headset. I was just sent the headset for review purposes, but I wasn't paid to make any content or anything about it. So this video is basically just them sending me the headset, but all my thoughts and feelings on this headset are my own. Alright, and with that out of the way, let's get started with the review. Okay, so the first main thing some of you guys may be wondering is, what is a Pimax headset? Now, if you were around VR in anywhere from like 2018 to like 2022, you probably would have seen these people with these huge headsets on their head. And yeah, those are Pimax headsets. Basically what they offer is they offer really insane resolutions in FOVs at the cost of being a bigger and more bulky headset. Now, Pimax have made tons of headsets over the years with a bunch of variety in their headsets, but I think that they're starting to niche down, and the Pimax Crystal Light is probably one of their most consumer-esque headsets that they offer right now. So to put it simply, the Pimax Crystal Light, it's a PC VR headset. It comes with 2 controllers, which is crazy. VR headset that offers insane clarity, resolution, and field of view. And overall, it's just a really good headset. I'd say that this headset is probably the most popular in like racing sims or like flight sim people, I guess, that play those. The headset is really popular in those demographics. But in this video, I'm kind of going to be reviewing it as a more general VR headset and comparing it to things such as a Quest 3, a valveindex, and like HP Reverb G2, just comparing it to the more broad spirit of VR headsets. Now that you guys should have a pretty good idea of what the Pimax Crystal Light is, let's get into some of these specs, because I think this is probably the most impressive part of this headset. Now, basically, with the Pimax Crystal Light, the specs are pretty insane. So just reading off their store page, you get an ultra sharp 2880 by 2880 pixel resolution per eye, which compared to other headsets on the market is absolutely insane. You also get glass aspheric lenses with a large sweet spot, which basically means that the lenses are really big, and it means that finding like a good sweet spot on your headset where everything will actually look clear and not blurry is really easy. And in my personal experience with the headset, I can agree that I've found the sweet spot almost instantly. You also get a variable refresh rate with this headset, which can range from 72, 90, and 120 hertz, which is really good. And I know some of you guys in the comments are gonna be like, wait, but the valveindex can go at like 140 hertz. Yeah, that is true. But with the resolution that this headset's packing, you honestly won't be pushing it past that. Now we get into some of the spicy stuff. You also get local dimming with this headset, which basically means that the blacks in the headset in darker areas will look so much better. Now this headset also comes with foveated rendering, which is becoming more typical in headsets, which basically means that the outside of the headset, so like kind of not like your center of your vision, but like the outside of the lens will render at a lower resolution to save performance, which is always nice to have. And a really cool part about this headset is it comes with inside out tracking, but if you are a base station addict or you just have full body tracking, this headset also works with lighthouse tracking. You do need an external module to get it working, but it does work really well. Now when it comes to audio, you do get a 3.5mm audio jack, which basically means you can plug in like headphones, a microphone, whatever, but this headset does come with speakers and a microphone built in. And now with that spec sheet out of the way, if you were to actually get this headset, it would set you back around $900 excluding tax, and that is in USD. If you can prove that you actually own another VR headset, such as like a Quest 3 or valveindex, they will take money off your headset, which is also really cool. Like, by the way, if you guys use code LEGACY at checkout, you guys can save money on your headset. I'm just saying, you should do it. But with all these specs out of the way, let's get into my personal experience with the headset. Now, in summary, I'd say my experience with the headset was honestly really positive, except for one key thing, and that was the setup. I tried it with my PC and it wasn't really working. I think it's something to do with either my USB setup, my monitors, or just something with my PC. But I went over to my dad's PC and I just tested it out, and it worked almost instantly. Now, I honestly don't know what the full cause of the issue was. I spent like half an hour trying to figure it out, but I tried it on a different PC and it worked. And let me tell you, when this headset works, it does work. I jumped straight into Boneworks as the first game to try out, and honestly, the resolution of the headset is just absolutely insane. I'm used to a valveindex, so the refresh rate was kind of similar to what I've already been running, but the resolution, oh my god, the resolution was insane. It was kind of like the difference between watching YouTube at 720p versus watching YouTube at almost like 4K. Like, everything was just super sharp. Now, the main games I did test out with this headset was, as I just said, Boneworks. I also tested out Beat Saber, which I will say, Beat Saber, it ran really well. It looked really good. But I'm gonna be honest, the tracking was not the best. I was still able to play most songs on Expert Plus, which is still a really good tracking. Just on occasion, it would lose tracking, which did get a little bit annoying. Now, with all that being said, compared to other people's experience with the headset, I think the way I personally use the headset is very different to the way that most people use Pimax headsets, if that makes sense. Most people who buy these headsets are going in for racing sims or flight sims just because of the crazy resolution and the really good refresh rate. And honestly, I can see that. And the reason that I think most people use this headset for that is one key detail that I've kind of left out this video, and that is the weight of the headset. This headset is a unit. Now, I'd say that if you're just playing a game casually, it does feel okay. But the second you're like whipping your head around, like looking left and right and like, oh my god, there's something behind me, it can get a bit strenuous on your neck. But if you're just sat down in like a racing sim setup, I don't see that being an issue. Now here comes the decisive bit of this review. Would I recommend this headset to you, the viewer? Honestly, I would say yeah, it definitely has its use cases. It is a really high fidelity headset. And honestly, I think that's just a pretty cool headset to have. Right, now, I will say that the cost and the prerequisites you need to run this headset aren't for everybody. Obviously, you need to have a really good gaming PC, and you do need to have the funds to actually shell out and get a headset like this, because it is pretty expensive. But I would say you are definitely getting what you paid for. Now, when comparing it to headsets such as like the valveindex or like the PSVR 2, or just like any other headset that you can use with the PC VR, I would say this headset definitely kind of feels like it's like in a league of its own, you know? It's not trying to compete with headsets like the Quest or like the PSVR 2. So he's kind of just trying to catering to those like super extremist like VR enthusiast hardcore players that want like the best resolution and like all the best stuff that you can get. They've always been pushing these super crazy FOV, super high spec headsets, and I think that they're just going to continue to do that. Now, with this headset being mostly actually cheaper than an Index, I will say that there are a few shortcomings to the headset, but the strengths and the weaknesses kind of balance each other out. 6'7", like for example, it has some of the best resolution and honestly a really good refresh rate, but I will say the microphone is a bit lacking. It's not that the microphone's bad or anything, it's completely usable. It's just that compared to something like the Index, which I'm running right now, and this is what you're hearing me record the video with, it can sound a bit, I guess, I don't know what the word for it is. It sounds a bit more muffled, but it is still a good microphone. Now, if I were to give this headset a rating out of 10, I would give this headset a solid 8. With also just like some of the setup issues I was having, the cost, and the fact that you need a really good PC to actually run the headset, that's kind of why I docked 2 points. But I'd still think that this headset is really good if you're looking for the best of the best high fidelity VR content that you can get. If I missed anything that you guys are interested in, please let me know in the comments. I'm happy to answer all your guys' questions about this headset. And just a quick reminder, you guys can use code LEGACY at checkout on the Pimax store and save money on your products, which is always good because we like money. We like saving money. Please save money. And it also helps support the channel, which is awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know it's a bit different than the videos I usually do, but I hope you guys enjoyed this green screen camera setup I've been running, because I think that it does look really cool. And a massive thank you to Pimax for sending out a crystal light and for trusting me to make this video. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys all in the next one.